You are listening to Beyond the Verse, a Star Citizen podcast. A show dedicated to Cloud Imperium games, Star Citizen, and Squadron 42. Whether you fight, explore, unite, and/or trade, we bring you news, updates, interviews, reviews, and analysis. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a pour of Radagast, and join us as we go Beyond the Verse.
Launch sequence activated.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Beyond the Verse, Star Citizen podcast. I'm your host, Sulyce, and this is episode 102, all things leading up to Invictus Launch Week. On today's episode, we will be covering the latest 4.1.1 PTU patch updates. That's right, it's still not in the live PU, which was expected by a lot of us. And then the Invictus Launch Week schedule is out. And so we're going to lead up into that, discuss what to expect in the next several weeks or in the month of May. We're going to watch the Behind the Ships episode, kind of the replacement of Inside Star Citizen for this past week that covers the MISC Starlancer TAC, which one could assume is going to be available for Invictus Launch Week. And stick around because we're going to be getting into a mini lore series that is covering Invictus Launch Week. A quick little 5-minute preview of the Messers, the Tribunal, and how we got into Invictus Launch Week to begin with. And this will be a series that we're going to be covering through the month of May. So I'm really excited about that. Short and sweet, nothing too crazy, but I miss my lore days and I kind of want to get back into it. And what better time than ILW? But before I get into any of that fun agenda, I have an apology to make. Clearly, I have an apology to make. On episode 101, I made the comment about solo pilots who pilot the Polaris. And I just want to be very clear. When I said I hope everybody who solo flies the Polaris would die immediately, I meant in game. I was really hoping that y'all would know my brand and know me to not think I was serious about real life. I mean, this is not that serious. It's just a video game, right? But I made that comment. It evidently rubbed people the wrong way, and I accept that. I did not mean it that way. So I just want to get that cat out of the bag, elephant in the room addressed. Please don't take me that way. You're talking to somebody who has a javelin, and there will be times when it's 2:00 in the morning, kids have me up, I don't know, but I want to get into the javelin and I want to play, and my org might all be asleep. Am I going to expect to die just because I'm walking around my javelin when no one else is plugged in and manning turrets? Like, I would hope that there are ways to survive when you're flying solo or with a small crew. So again, I just want to be very, very, very clear. Fly that thing, fly it solo. The point I was trying to make is if we are in a combat situation, you're going to the Hathor mining area and you are coming solo in a Polaris, it should not even be a factor. It should be a non-discussion topic, right? The 2 or 3 people that are actually there that have a fully manned Hurricane, Scorpius, Eclipse should be able to put up a fight and survive. Just saying. Okay. Please reach out if you have any more further questions. But I wanted to be very honest. I want to be very sincere about that. So anyhow, as we're talking about episode 101, I did ask a poll, obviously, and we did have a comment section. So let's go through that real quick. I asked, how did the audio and the video quality come out in this episode post the PC upgrades? Let us know in the comments. So if this is your first time listening or you missed last week's episode, I overhauled my entire PC. I'm not going to go through the peripherals and the specifics or specifications. But it's a brand new experience in Star Citizen. So I just wanted to, highlight that last episode. But it did reset everything. It reset my audio quality. It reset my video quality. And so a lot of this is trial and error. If you've ever done a podcast, there's obviously a difference between pre-production, post-production, the different setups that you have, the condenser settings, all of that nonsense, our compressor settings. So it is kind of trial and error. And unfortunately, I don't have like all the time in the world to do a bunch of trial. So I did ask that question. It was pretty good turnout. 62.5% said it said the same, or it sounded the same and it looked the same. Great. I could not ask for more. I'm really happy about that. 12.5% said better. 12.5% said highly better. But then there's 12.5% that said highly worse. So if you truly think that this audio and video is highly worse, I'm serious. Email me, contact@beyondtheversehq.com. Let me know what you observe and what you experience. Because again, you have to remember, this podcast is consumed in many different platforms. So whether you were watching on YouTube at home with your PC set up, or you're driving across the country, or you're in the gym working out, I would like to know the quality and how it sounds to each one of you in that sense. So if you're having problems, please let me know. I did hear that advertisements are back in Spotify. So I'm sure there was something with having to re-log into the services. I'm going to comb through Spotify like a hawk after this episode, just to make sure that we're not getting advertisements. I am so proud and happy and excited that I've been monetized on Spotify, but it does not supersede the interruption that y'all experience at the beginning of some of these episodes. So I am on it. I will address it and I will look into it. To the comments section. Here we go. Sharing my screen for those of you on YouTube. We actually have kind of a few to go through. We have 6 to go through. Let's just go straight through this. So Cody Laneship says, if you're looking for a great ultra-wide Odyssey G9, this thing is a powerhouse with G-Sync, and Star Citizen is just beautiful with the peripherals. The immersion is unmatched. I don't do any editing, but I think it could definitely benefit you. So, okay. First off, if this is the Samsung Odyssey G9 that I saw at Best Buy yesterday when I picked up my new monitor, which I'll get into here in a second, I think it's ridiculously big. Like ridiculously big. 45 inches, I'm pretty sure. 45 inches, and that thing wraps, maybe it's 55, but the thing like wraps around you as you're gaming. Like it's literally like from in front of you to like your ears. It is. I can imagine that being insanely immersive. I did not though. I went ahead and chose the Alienware AW3225QW. I know that means nothing to anybody, but it's OLED, it's 4K, 240 hertz, HDR. I saw and read it was one of the more highly rated, ones, but it's 35 inches. It's nothing too much bigger than the 27 inch I had. But just like last week's episode, let me just reiterate that just changing the monitor from a 1080p 240 hertz with no HDR, changing that to what I'm experiencing now makes Star Citizen look incredibly better. And I don't know, it's tough because I want to show y'all the difference. I want to get in there and show you what Seraphim Station with 20, 30, 40 org members inside looks like at that high fidelity. But I can't. It's like going to your friend and saying, look at all the beautiful colors, and your friend's colorblind, right? Like you are the beholder. And so if you're watching an 8K video on your 1080p monitor, you're going to get the 1080p quality. You're not getting 8K quality. So I wish I could. Take my word for it, maybe. Admiral Zeke, it's good to have you back. Not having an episode last Friday threw off my work and podcast balance. I do have high hopes for an Ironclad as redacted for Invictus Launch Week, but I'm sure I'll have to wait. Looking forward to another 100 plus episodes, wonderful episodes. Thank you for all the work you do for us. Love you to death. Thank you for being an engaged listener. I really do appreciate you. I do. As far as the Ironclad as Invictus Launch Week, maybe. I don't have enough information to say that it's not, but I think a lot of the redacted, it might have even been the MISC Starlancer attack that we saw yesterday on Behind the Ship. I know it's not like fun or sexy or like, oh, hey, it's been ruined, but we at least know that was one of the kept secrets, publicly kept secrets, is the Starlancer the Starlancer TAC. So I don't know. We're not getting the Idris again. I hate to say that to some of these listeners, but we're not getting the Idris, but we are getting the Idris experience for Aegis Day. That's going to be in the far back of the hall, and it's the Idris P. I think that was confirmed by Star Jump Grim, who was able to get on, walk around the Idris P. But I can't wait for that. And I'll get into like Invictus Launch Week and what that means to me here in a second, but I don't know who or what the redacted is. I would love it for it to be the Ironclad. It just feels really fast. It feels like they announced the Ironclad and for it to already be out. I mean, maybe. But let's also be honest, it's a square brick. It's Drake, so it's a square brick. I can't imagine it being that difficult. I just insulted like half my listeners. That's fine. Jackal Rook says, thanks for the episode. The audio and video came out great. Other than when your Chrome crashing, it was successful. Yeah, that was really, really obnoxious last week. I'm like, new computer, new everything. And then when I go to Chrome, it freezes on me. Classic. Hopefully that doesn't happen this episode. Anna writes, it was a tad bit echoey at the start, so that was weird. Otherwise, it looked great. Okay, I'm going to obviously, like I said, listen back to the post-production and make sure that that's not a thing. Or if it is, how to remove it. But if y'all have ever jacked with a Shure SM7B, setting it up once is a pain in the ass. But doing it a second time, once everything has reset, I'll figure it out. We'll find that sweet spot. Stay with me. Maybe 105 or 110 episodes in, we'll get it all fixed. All right, so here's where the Polaris thing comes in. All right, so Jason Funk writes, with AI blades, wouldn't people be able to solo the Polaris to some degree? Are the blades intended to be used to make the larger ships viable with smaller crews? All right, let's just address this here. It's 100%, absolutely. And I love that the Carrack and the 890 Jump and all these, fan favorites are getting the AI blades, right? They're getting the ability to also the automated turrets, right? You're getting the ability to somewhat defend yourself, especially from the pilot seat, right? Making the Carrack relevant, for small crews. And let's face it, not everybody is part of a 300-member Sole Provision organization. There are bigger organizations than Sole Provision, but not everybody has the opportunity to play with 10, 15, 30 people at a time. Okay, so we need to accept that. Now, do we just say that in that case, no one ever gets to fly the Polaris unless you're in an org? I don't know. I don't feel right about that. I don't think that's the right answer. So I do think it should make it viable for smaller crews. Absolutely. Again, this is like me wanting to, have my cake and eat it too, to use that phrase. I just don't want it abused, right? Like I don't want, somebody to come and just completely wipe out an entire org just because they had a shitload of money to spend on this game. Like if you were blessed enough to buy a $3,000 Javelin, does that mean you're just OP? You could fly around the Javelin, just wipe out entire organizations? I don't know. That feels like it's too extreme. At the same time, you spent $3,000 on this game. Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna have to figure that out. And luckily, that's not my job. It's not my job. We had like 5 to 10 multi-crewed smaller ships, right? We had Scorpiuses, and this is actually not with Sole Provision. This was another group I was playing with. So we had Scorpiuses, we had Hurricanes, we had Redeemers. So we had little small groups, and there was probably 10 different ships. So you can think 20, 25, 30 people, right? But there were 2 Polarises, one that was semi-staffed. You could tell there's like 2 or 3 people in it, but then the other one, admittedly, right, on comms, they admitted that they were by themselves. And so those 2 Polarises wiped out 30 of us. I mean, I don't know. Is that okay? Personally, I don't care. I don't care. I want it to be a fair, I use the word realistic a lot, and that ends up getting me in trouble. There's a lot of people that email me when I say realistic, like, it's a video game in 2955. How realistic do you want it to be? Roger, I get it. But I think if I fast forward to 2955, is that ever going to be the case? Should it be the case? I think that's where my headspace is. All right, back to the comment section. Let's wrap this one up. Mike Gilkey writes, wanted to let you know how great your podcast is. Thanks for the effort each week. I appreciate that. I'll never say that I need the affirmation or I need the validation. Of course, it's appreciated, but yeah, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. We made the comment on the 100th episode. I think Space Tomato made this comment, but like, as content creators, we don't actually play the game. Like, we get in to make content, right? We get in to understand the content. We do things that we wouldn't probably normally do if we were legitimately playing for the sake of content. And so I appreciate you noticing. And I know a lot of you notice, you just don't go through, the effort to say it, and that's fine. I'm actually the same way. Every time I see or hear something good, I don't feel obligated to tell the creator, hey, good job. So I'm right there with you, but it's nice. Thank you, Mike. It's nice to see that and hear that. And a lot of you have been really gracious in the last couple of days, especially since the 100th episode, to let me know how we're doing. So thank you so much. Keep it up. Keep up the reflections here. Okay. All right. Let's get into the actual segments. And I'm just now noticing I have a couple things out of order. Yay. It would not be a Beyond the Verse podcast if I wasn't fumbling over the agenda. No, we have emails. Ooh, I am glad I caught that. We do have emails. Not going to share my screen, but we do have a John Strickling who writes, congrats on 100. Hello, John from Australia. Well-deserved congratulations on 100th episode. I own the beautiful, beyond comparison, even has a toilet 300i. And I could listen to Conniff read the dictionary. Cheers, John Zitmeister. Yeah, so first off, Conniff, the professional voice, the professional singer. Yeah, of course. That dude, first off, is an amazing human being, number one. But number two, like, he writes songs for content creators. Like, when we were part of Lore Seekers, he was always doing things for cash and jibs. And then here he is now, right? If you listen to episode 50, he wrote a song for us at the end of episode 50. He was part of episode 100, just an amazing overall individual. So I agree. I could listen to him read anything. In the 300i, I'm not going to lie. The 300i is a phenomenal ship. I, first off, love the external customization that you do with the Origin I series. So the 100 series, 200 series, 300 series. Is there a 200 series? I don't think there's a 200. I think there's like 100 series and a 300 series. And then a 400 series. Why is there not an Origin 200 series? Okay, now I'm... right? I'll look at it later. All right, I'll come back to y'all. Anyways, but the Origin I series, you can go in and customize externally on a website, and that's really cool. But yeah, 300i even has a toilet. I actually love the 300i. I love the like the moon roof, right? The walking space that's behind the cockpit, how it has that kind of the window above you. I love it. Such a great idea. All right, and now we have Peter Torres. So Peter Torres, the subject is very interesting question. So of course, I loved opening up this email. So here we go. Peter Torres, Sulyce. With the cross-platform chat incoming with the next patch, maybe, do you think that this would be a successful feature or rather ineffective, since most communications between players are done in Discord anyway? All right, let's start with this question first. Okay. No, I think it will be ineffective. I think it's a great feature Let me reference like Phasmophobia. So Phasmophobia, first off, if you haven't played that game with a friend, it is a lot of fun. So Phasmophobia is this like ghost hunter game where you have these like tools necessary to ghost hunt, and you go into these like cemetery, campsite, prison, and you hunt for ghosts. It is absolutely terrifying. It's a phenomenally done game, but that game is a million times better if you play it with proximity chat, right? So you can't really, if your friend goes to the third floor of the prison, you should not be able to hear him or her. So you actually feel alone. You feel that nervousness. A lot of people still have like Discord on as a push to talk. And so what happens is they're like, okay, well, I've lost my friend. Where the hell is he or she? I need to get in touch with them because, real life outside of the game. So what they'll do is they'll push to talk on Discord and be like, hey, buddy, where'd you go? Right. And so there's always like, I feel like you're always going to need this like external app, especially if you're going to be competitive. Now, it depends. It depends on what Star Citizen comes out with. And this is the first iteration. I'm sure there'll be 100 iterations. But if you want to be competitive, you're going to need open mic. You're going to need open mic to make strategic conversations very quickly. Usually the faster communicator wins the battle, right? Outflanking and outmaneuvering your opponent, right? These are all things that, especially the veterans, their ears are perking up. But if you can talk faster and make decisions faster than your enemy and outmaneuver them, done. So having to wait and fumble around on switching comms, and whether you're talking, and I think this is what they mean by cross-platform, but whether you're talking in game in proximity chat or then talking through Spectrum or an external app or whatever concoction that they have drawn up for us. Sorry, hold on. Have a tickle in my throat. Haven't had that in a while. It might just be easier. It might be easier to have Discord. And so what's actually worked for me the most is my Stream Deck. So I've got the 4x1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got the 32 button Stream Deck. And so I have one when I'm playing with my orc. I have one called Discord. So I click on it and I've got 32 buttons to switch channels on. And so I'll be talking to headquarters, and then I'll switch over to Fireteam Alpha and have my conversation. Fireteam Bravo, have my conversation back to, the general org channel. But it's very easy to switch around and do what I need to do. But you don't have like multi-channel. So like, again, in real life military, you would have like your small unit, your platoon, your squad, whatever the heck, your team on like your left ear, let's say. And then your right ear, you'd have company comms. Right. And so you'd have like multi conversations, going on. And it's nothing I had to do as like an operator. Right. It's like I'm just now to talk to one, there's a button to push, but you're hearing everything. And so how does that translate into Star Citizen? I think is going to be super interesting, super important. And not everybody has that tenacity or the ability to have 2, 3, 4 conversations going on at once. So I don't know, it's a great question. It's a great question. Time will tell. So first off, I think the first question is, what do they mean by, cross-platform? It's funny, when that first got announced, people were like, oh, it's coming out on console. So it means PC talking to console platforms. I mean, Squadron 42 will be console, yes, but I don't think Star Citizen is going to end up being console. And even if it is, I don't think that's what they're talking about here. I think they're talking about in-game versus Spectrum, etc. So next question by Peter. Which ships do you think will release for Invictus launch week? Which ones are you hoping get released? I think we already talked about that. The Starlancer TAC is kind of a no-brainer given yesterday's episode. I would love to see the Ironclad, truly. I heard rumors about the Legionnaire. I heard there's a RSI unannounced ship. Again, these are things that I have not validated. But what I think is going to release for Invictus, Starlancer TAC, and then my fingers are crossed for the Ironclad. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. I don't think it's happening. What do you think about the rumors of the Idris potentially racing for Invictus? It's not. It's not. This, for some weird reason, this is CIG's They are holding fast to this. The Idris is done, and you're going to see the Idris at Aegis Week. You're going to go to the back. You're going to see the Idris experience. You're going to walk around on it. It's basically done, and it kind of it has to be done because of Squadron 42 next year. But this is like the one commitment that they were like, screw the rest of the world. We're going to promise patches and then, not release them. We're going to promise game features and then not release them. We're going to have all these things that we're going to promise and not do. But I'll be damned if the Idris comes out before Squadron 42. I don't know. It's ready. It's been in the game. Like, it's been in the game for several global events, for several just overall basic events. It's going to come out in 4.1.1, not the ship to own, but they were going to have the Idris attack mission, but now they switched it out for the Polaris. So I mean, it's flyable, right? They even had a damn community event over stealing the Idris and whoever can fly it the longest. So it's ready. They could ship it out if they wanted to. It's not going to. It's not. And this is something I would happily eat my words on. Like, if they decide to release it for Invictus, I'll be glad to snip this, cut this, put this on social media and say Sulyce was wrong. I don't think I'm wrong in this situation. All right. And then here we go with the Polaris thing. All right. Given your outrageously aggressive take on solo Polaris pilots, which I am one of said people, how would you gauge your disposition toward a solo Idris pilot? More or less, wanton condemnation of death towards said people. Man, buddy, I really hope you meant that jokingly. No, I don't wish death or condemn the actual people who do this death. But yeah, so like my feelings towards the Polaris and being able to, one person flying the Polaris take out 10, 20 people. Of course, that's the same thing with the Idris. I do think, and this will get me in trouble. I do think there should be ships that are org only. I truly do. And if you decided to put out or to spend $3,000 on a Javelin, knowing you're going to need 80 people to freaking run that thing, then it's on you, right? It's on you for spending that money, but you should not be successful flying a Javelin with 2 or 3 people. It shouldn't. So the Idris is kind of the same thing for me. It's just a little bit larger. Polaris, I don't know. It's at some point the size just becomes more like, I don't know, irrelevant. It becomes abstract to me, in my opinion. When you walk on the Idris for Invictus Launch Week, you'll see it's so big, it's so massive that it does become a little abstract. And so thinking about flying that by yourself is just crazy to me. But no, I don't condemn people to death. If you want to fly an Idris by yourself, I will be flying the Idris by myself 100%. But it's to get from point A to point B so I can get out in mine or get out in salvage or land at a Merc bunker. It's going to be my means of transportation. And I just like role playing. My favorite ship right now to role play in is still the Hammerhead, because it is probably, for me, one of the most realistic military vessels. I guess from the inside, it looks like something we would actually do. The Polaris is, again, super sexy, whatever. But yeah, I will be solo piloting the Idris, so I don't necessarily want to kill myself there. But I'm not going to be taking on massive org ops by myself in an Idris. And then last but not least, the question from Peter. What is the probability of a Beyond the Verse themed banana hammock being available from the merch store? Asking for a friend. Should I stop asking? Okay. All right. So Saxus Primus. No, I don't think we're going to have a banana hammock. Good God, for the Beyond the Verse merch. I don't know. Never say never. Who knows? But it's going to be never. You guys crack me up. If y'all do have like some fun ideas though for merch, let me know. It's kind of sad right now because of tariffs and everything else. The cost to like ship and make merch has gone up, so the prices have gone up, and that doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make you feel good. So I'm kind of in this like weird state where I kind of just want I want the dust to settle. I want things to kind of move beyond the bullshit that we're going through right now. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Not expressing political opinions. It's just, we're all impacted. And so I don't know, I want to get through this before I really start diving into the merch conversation. All right, this week in Star Citizen, let's go. Happy Monday, everyone. I just read happy twice. Alpha 4.1.1 is now open to all waves on the PTU. If you haven't jumped in yet, now's the time to help us. And I just realized I'm screen sharing a 4K monitor that has a different resolution. So if I'm sharing my screen and it's all distorted, I'm going to find out in post-production and I'll address it. So I'm sorry if this experience is totally jacked. I just realized that. Cool. Exciting. So if you haven't jumped in yet, now's the time to help us put the patch through its paces. Your feedback helps the dev team tighten the bolts and screws in preparation for release to the live servers. As always, we look forward to hearing your thoughts. As previously announced, the Bar Citizen World Tour is continuing this year, giving us more chances to connect with all of you. We always look forward to meeting in person and sharing the energy that makes these events so much fun. This weekend, our team will be headed to Nashville, Tennessee, and South Korea. Furthermore, this week, we'll share more information about our International Bar Citizen Weekend events, which will take place near each one of our studios around the world. That means Austin, Texas. In the weekend of June 14 through 15. So keep an eye out for that in the days ahead. So if you're in the Austin, Texas area around June 14th through 15th, I'll be there. So I would like to meet you in person. Austin, Texas, June 14th through 15th. Keep an eye out for that in the days ahead. Also, word is, Wicklow has something special for those who join us at the events where our team is present. So come by and say hi and be among the first to receive this year's exclusive in-game item. Now let's see what's going on this week. On Thursday, we'll be sharing a few details about the upcoming Invictus Launch week. We do have the schedule, we do have the location, and of course we got the video, right? And with it, the first Behind the Ships show. Perfect. Friday, so today after this episode, you'll receive a copy of the weekly RSI newsletter delivered straight to your inbox. Then, as mentioned above, on Saturday, we're kicking off this year's Bar Citizen World Tour with 2 stops, one in Nashville, Tennessee, and the other in South Korea. Find more details on the locations and times here. Okay, then you got the bullet points, and there you go. So, again, if you're in the Austin, Texas area or anywhere near, let's hang out. Let's schedule June 14th through 15th. Put that on your calendar. I'll be there. I always try my best to be there. I at least try to go once a quarter, whether it's a San Antonio one, whether it's an Austin one. I try my best to go once a quarter. Of course, I'll make this a priority as well. All right, low-hanging fruit, very quickly or very fast news we do have for the subscribers this week. We also had Jump Point drop. So just real quick, sharing my screen. Jump Point is like a newsletter. It's like a 10-15 page newsletter that has, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's got articles from the devs. It's got background stories. But this one, Jump Point, now available, issue 1302, Rock and Roll Flight School. So attention subscribers, the April 2025 issue of Jump Point is now available in the subscribers section of your account. This time we're exploring some of the content coming soon to the verse, including Gilly's training school and the development of the Drake Golem. Plus, the narrative team has an all-new short story that you won't forget. Then if you're interested in becoming a subscriber, click the pledge store now. I still have not re-upped my subscription. Couple episodes now, several episodes at this point, but I've decided to let my subscription expire in December. One, like the items each month, just they weren't what I was interested in, which it's not a hit on any team at CIG. It's just not my flavor. And I'd rather spend that $150 or whatever on ships throughout the year. So it's just more of a prioritization. CIG has gotten my money. They have reaped the benefits of me being a backer, so I'm not too concerned with that being a thing. But because I'm not a subscriber, I don't have access to the Jump Point. That's fine. That's fine. All right, in other news, we do have the 4.1.1 latest patch. Now, they continue to have issues with the Expo Hall, which I think is why it's not out yet, number one. Number two, why 4.1.1 is not out yet. I know they're not going to push anything for Invictus until closer to time. I know that. But I think they're letting it cook a little bit longer in the PTU, because I think that's one of the testing and feedback focuses, is going through the Fleet Week halls. So going through these, you've seen this before, not a lot of changes from the last week's update. It's still the 73600 mesh configuration, but the testing feedback focus, stability and bug fixes, the ship battle missions version 1, which is patrol, ambush, the Gillies advanced combat gauntlet missions, the handyman missions, which I'm most excited about, PvP bounties, PvP bounties, that almost sounded dirty, Hunt the Polaris mission, which that used to be the Idris mission, so Hunt the Polaris mission, the UEE training missions, the Fleet Week halls, and the Wicklow new rewards. So there you go. Again, short, quick, to the point. There's really nothing else here that stood out to me as like, oh my gosh, we got to address it. Here's what I'm personally most excited about. The raft thruster, or the raft basically getting a whole new cargo grid. But they continue to make updates on the raft, which is super exciting to me. I personally will go back to the raft being my daily driver whenever this comes out, because I'm cargo hauling and that's my thing. And it has a nice living space and all that. So I personally love the the raft. And all my pirates out there, I know there's a lot of you. You know that the raft is super easy to steal from. I get it. But that's more on me, having to find a way to defend myself. So have at it. If you find me in the verse, steal from me. Makes for great content. Okay. My favorite time of the year. This is hands down my favorite time of the year. And I'm actually going to do something real quick. I'm actually going to go onto OBS. Yeah, it's not even sharing my screen, guys. I just now noticed that I'm sharing a black screen. That is sad. So every time I've been trying to share something with you, I realize that it's not actually sharing. Okay, good to know. Oh man, that is great. So let me actually see. I'm doing this. I'm doing this real time. I want to fix this. So display capture, properties. I'm pretty sure. Well, now I think you can see everything. Display. Here we go. But then now I need to change the properties. Save. Okay. So y'all should see now. I mean, it's not the right aspect ratio. So I have the display. I'll have to do this later, I think, because I have the display capture, but it's not allowing me to change the. Because I thought it was in properties. What if I do this? What if I do? Yeah? Is this working? Hey. But it is HDR, so it might have like a weird like loss of color. But that should be it. Yeah? Okay. So thanks for bearing with me. You see a bunch of this on the episode. You should have video now, so I don't know. Let's find out what happens. Regardless, I'll have to come back and fix everything later. Okay, so Invictus Launch Week, my favorite time of the year. This is when I started playing the game several years ago. When Kana first brought me into Star Citizen, it was Invictus Launch Week. And I remember it being Invictus Launch Week in Crusader. And it was just, it was such an incredible experience. Now, it's not as large as IAE. So IAE is its sister event that is later in the year, like November timeframe. But that's every ship in the verse. Whereas Invictus Launch Week is about military ships. It's just military ships. So you're not going to see the 890 jump for Invictus Launch Week. You'll see it for IAE, and that's the time to get it. right? But it's not going to be for this event. And so in 13 days, 6 hours, and 11 minutes, we will have Invictus Launch Week. So this answers Prime Entity's question of when it's going to be. We actually have the dates now, May 15th through 27th. Another reason why we don't really listen or watch other people's content. Because there's dates and times thrown out all over the place. And so we don't really say when it's going to be until we hear it from the horse's mouth. So there you go. 15 through 27. In 13 days, 6 hours. This is an extremely fun event. It is a celebration of the Navy, which again, we're going to get into some of the lore here in a little bit. But it's about lore. It's about story. It's about celebrating the last 930 years of humankind and our issues we've had both internally, politically, socially, but also externally with the alien species around us. There's so much to unpack in this game or in this lore piece. And it's really cool to go to the exhibit hall and see all the displays, like you would actually see in a museum. Like when you first walk in, it's decorated. There's plaques and there's storyboards. It's an amazing execution of an event. And so you go, so that's just the main hallway, but then you take an elevator to the expo halls, and then every military ship on the manufacturer's day, so it's RSI day, all the military ships that RSI make are there inside the expo hall for you to rent, walk around in, fly, all for free. And so that's why the Idris, like I think the first day is Aegis Day, but that's why the Idris P experience is going to be amazing, because you're going to see that thing in all its glory in the back of the hall, and you're going to be able to walk around it. And I really hope it's not just Aegis Day. I hope it's the whole Invictus Launch Week. Right? Because like that would suck to be forced into one day of really getting to experience that ship. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. And it being in Area 18, I love Area 18. The Area 18 was actually my first starting location when I first joined a long time ago. And it's changed a lot. The graphics, the fidelity has changed a lot. But it's like returning home, sort of. So I'm nostalgic. I'm excited about it. But we have an entire month of really getting into this event. So be part of an unforgettable Invictus Launch Week. Join the celebration from May 15 through 27 as our annual Military Expo and Free Fly event returns to Area 18. The doors of the Bevic Convention Center will open to a remodeled expo hall, spotlighting an array of new ships. Remodeled expo hall. That's going to be exciting. Including the Misk Starlancer attack, as well as a naval-inspired classic. Citizens are also invited to the top of the IO North Tower for an all-new Aegis Idris tour. Come to see firsthand why this frigate is a mainstay of the UEEN. Grey Cat Industrial will open the proceedings on day one with a versatile and rugged reveal. That's cool. Grey Cat's going to have a reveal. Discover the full manufacturer schedule over on Spectrum, which we will get into here in a second. Again, I really hope this is coming across. Excuse me. I really hope this is coming across on your screen so you can see it. I'll adjust later. So here's Area 18 landing zone map. That's the landing zone map. So, okay, yeah, that's right. So it's platform. So you take a trolley or train or whatever you want to call that, bus system, train system. But instead of going, like, it's in between, almost like Crusader, like Orison. You're going to fly from platform to platform. Well, this platform is the Bevic Convention Center. So you're going to land, so this Riker Memorial Spaceport down here, you're going to land here. And then that's where you're going to walk in and see everything. Now, see how different it looks? This is an entirely different experience. Usually it's just like you walk in, there's this massive circular room that has a holograph, and then you've got the ships. Well, that doesn't really look like that's this. I mean, sort of, maybe. You get, maybe the center area is that holographic area, but then you have an entire different system of hallways and everything else. So then here's your Aegis Idris experience. Again, I hope that's all event. No. In Invictus First, an Aegis Idris will be docked and open for self-guided tours in Area 18. My assumption is it's the whole event. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I think it's the whole event. Moving down. All right, we will watch the behind the ships MISC Starlancer attack actually here in a couple of minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So we'll get into that here in a second. This is funny to me. They're selling the clothes that you can get for free in the expo hall. So in the expo hall, just like you would any other museum, you're going to see, merch that you can get in game. You can go and spend, I think it's like 5 or 10 UEC. It's so cheap, but you can get, manufacturer ships. So I wish you can get manufacturer branded gear. And so you got this Invictus flight jacket, which I'll talk about that. That's separate, right? That's a different conversation. But then you've got like the Anvil gear pack for $3, $3.50. MISC, Argo, Crusader, Tumbril, Aegis, RSI. These are all $3.50. Okay, so that's cute. The Invictus flight jacket steel, so this $4. This did come with the Fury cell last year or a couple years ago. I think it was last year. This came with the Fury cell, and so some of us have this for free already. That's that came with the ship, which more than likely will be the case when they release the Starlancer attack and this Grey Cat reveal. There'll probably be like an additional item whenever you buy your ship that'll include like this flight jacket. So I guess that's kind of cool, but even then it's $4. It's $8 if you want both the steel and just the regular flight jacket. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is like you're going to be able to pick all the t-shirts and caps up, I don't know, for like 150 to 200 UEC. Why spend real life money on it? And then people are going to say, hey, Sulyce, it's so they can have it persistent from patch to patch. Okay, but even when 1.0 comes out, the first time there is an event, go pick up all the shirts and caps for 200 UEC. Like, this is not something I would spend actual real life money on. Like, not even the flight jackets, even though I like the cosmetic or the aesthetic of the flight jacket. I don't know. This one's weird to me. And at this current moment, there's not like a pack. There's not like a $30 pack to have everything, or however much that would be. So I don't see a pack here. I think that's a miss because a lot of people don't want to go through and put 20 items on their cart and then check out. Just give me one item that has all this on it. So I think that's a little bit of feedback for CIG. So that's a little strange, but this is also a preview. The way I am previewing Invictus Launch Week, they are as well. Here's the dates, here are the times, here's the locations, some teasers about some new ships, some flight gear, cool. And then they have a Spectrum drop as well, which is really nothing new other than they provide the actual schedule here. So again, hopefully you can see my screen. Here's the schedule. So May 15 through 16. And again, there's 2 days, so it'll be in one hall. If they're doing separate halls, like different elevators to take to different levels of the hall. So Grey Cat will go into one on the 15th. Then on the 16th, Aegis will go into the other, and Grey Cat will remain. So on the 16th, you should have 2, right? You should have Grey Cat in one floor, Aegis in the other. Then on May 17th, you should have others drop. So that's usually how they've done it in the past. This might be completely different. It might be 2 vendors, on May 15th through 16th. I don't know. We're going to find out. But how they've done it in the past is that they kind of rotate from new manufacturer to each floor. So what day are you most excited about? What's your favorite grouping here? And that'll probably be the poll. So are you looking forward to the 15th through 16th the most, 17th through 18th the most, and so on? Then we got Drake. They got Drake all by themselves. Over here, May 25th. That has its own lore, right? That has its own lore. They're the redheaded stepchildren that always get pushed off and have their own day. But I think it's kind of a cool piece to the lore. So, and I think it's time. Again, I really hope my video is coming through. I think it's coming through. I hope it's coming through. So we're going to watch this together. If the video doesn't come through and all you're doing is hearing audio, okay, again, I'm going to learn in a couple minutes if that's the case. But here is the behind the ship's MISC Starlancer attack. You're going to want to watch this. It is a very good take on the existing Starlancer, right? So right now we do have the Starlancer. It is the cargo variant, so super cool, awesome, whatever. But this is like the military version. And I think you're gonna like it. So without further ado, let's get into it.
The Starlancer attack is a variant of the Starlancer series. It kind of takes the Starlancer chassis and outfits it with a more offensive loadout. It's got remote turrets on top. The co-pilot's got some fun little missile turrets at the rear to keep people off the back end. You don't have access to every single gun on it. There's only 4 pilot-controlled guns. You'll notice immediately from the exterior that it has these new 2 twin size 5 man turrets.
What makes this MISC is the shape language that was used to make this turret. It replicates the exterior of the ship, which contains round forms, welded forms, and chunky shapes.
MISC as a manufacturer are kind of really proud of their manufacturing and they're not afraid to show it. You kind of see all the compound forms that reveal the underlying structure, where the fuel cells are, but it's a little more refined. Paneling is a lot cleaner. It's not something like a Drake ship where everything's just completely exposed. I really like the MISC look. It's got this sort of darker stealth armor, so it looks really like sleek.
I like it too.
The guys have done a really great job with the lighting on it. It's got this like really mean looking red lighting. It just looks really sick. It does not have a cargo lift, but it still has your cargo bay in the back for 96 SCU and space for holding ground vehicles. And you also have the addition of...
So that's huge. 96 SCU. That's great. That is that's a good amount of cargo for a military vessel.
A hangar up top.
And a hangar on top.
A version that could carry a ship, so I'm glad we've managed to figure that out.
It can accommodate 1 Fury, but if you are a good pilot, you can accommodate 2 as well.
Challenge accepted.
What we've done is we've stripped out the Max's separate habitation rooms and replaced those with the hangar.
It's not that much big, but it's compact. It has a landing pad there with really cool small refueling parts.
We've extended the Max's habitation kitchen area to have its own bunk room. On the lower deck, we've replaced the long cargo bridge sort of area with a troop deployment area where some soldiers can jump out of like an extending gantry. And between that and the cargo bay is a small medical room.
No other MISC ships has a medical bay, so it was a bit hard at the first to get used to it, like how the design will be.
It's a great looking med
What
bay.
I feel the people will notice most will be the aesthetic of it. These bright lights and those metal floors. It's a bit high-tech, but it's not like very high maintenance.
The engineering and the cockpit are the same as the Max.
And in the cockpit, it's very spacious. It's accommodate pilot, co-pilot. It looks really cool because it's integrated with the bridge.
The turret room is located in the belly of the ship. At first glance, it resembles a shrine to warfare, with all the red lights around and the ammunition, and the turret seats on the left and the right. It looks really cool. The animations are really cool, from the hatch closing over the player to the seat rotating and going into the turret, and the guns sliding out in preparation for battle.
It does look cool.
Starlancer would be for like teams of players who really like missions in a large group of like soldiers. As well as like the actual people crewing the ship and the turrets, you've got quite a lot of space for ground pounders with rifles. The cargo bay in the back can be used for like some of the smaller vehicles like the Cyclone. I think it's a really good ship for like just team play.
Boom. Love it. Another poll question is, are you going to get one? Do you already have one? right? So like when these first came out for sale, last year, I think. You could buy the pack. You could buy like all three, because there's also the base building version that is available as well, or not available, but is part of that pack as well. So some of us have all three. Some of us only bought, one or two. And then of course this will come out as like another offering in a couple of weeks. So maybe that's another poll question I can ask you. Regardless, let me know in the comment section if the Starlancer attack is something that you're going to be picking up. It does look good. It looks really, really good. A lot of firepower. I consider it probably more of maybe a drop ship. Like, I don't know. It's sort of a drop ship. They talk about that space for high velocity exfil. Cool. I mean, when I think drop ship, I'm thinking like a platoon, like a personnel carrier that's going to drop like more than just a few. And I feel like that's more, I don't know, it's more of a Valkyrie mission set. So maybe this is more of a gunship with the capability of deploying a small unit. So can't wait to get into it. I know Soul Provision will absolutely have a few of these flying around, which will be amazing when that happens. Here we go. Welcome to the first episode of the Invictus Launch Week Lore Series. We haven't done one of these in a very, 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 very long time, but I spent a couple of minutes, maybe even hours, writing something up. It's only like a 5-minute thing, but we're going to be getting into what Invictus is, where it comes from, and where it is going. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite pour of Radagast, and join us as we go through the Invictus Launch Week Lore Series. Before there was an empire, before the rise of the Messers, the UEE Navy, or even the name Invictus itself, there was a tribunal. A governing body forged not from conquest, but from the fragile hope of unity. Welcome, traveler, to Beyond the Verse. This month, we dive into the history behind Invictus Launch Week. But to understand Invictus, we must first understand the birth of the system that would one day celebrate it. And that story begins with the United Planets of Earth. In the early 26th century, humanity had already stepped beyond the cradle of Earth. Colonies stretched across multiple star systems, Terra, Croshaw, and others had become second homes to our species. But with expansion came conflict. Tensions flared between Earth and its colonies, disputes over resources and governance threatening to shatter the dream of a united human race before it could even take shape. Enter the Tribunal. Founded in 2523, the United Planets of Earth, or UPE, was established to bring order to the chaos. Rather than a single ruler, the UPE was led by 3 members of a tribunal: a High Secretary, charged with overseeing government affairs and diplomacy, a High General, responsible for military command and defense, and a High Advocate, the voice of justice and law. This triumvirate structure was intended as a safeguard against tyranny: 3 leaders, 3 pillars of power, each balancing the others. It was a moment in history where humanity chose cooperation over dominance. The Tribunal's mission was simple on paper, yet profound: to ensure that no single world, no single power, could dictate the fate of all. But peace is never so easily kept. The Tribunal would soon face its greatest challenge, not from within, but from beyond the stars, because while the UPE worked to unite humanity, another force had been quietly watching, preparing, and when they struck hard. Next week, we turn our gaze to the First Tevarin War, the conflict that would test the resolve of the Tribunal, reshape the destiny of humanity, and plant the seeds for what Invictus Launch Week would one day commemorate. History remembers the victors, but before there were victors, there was survival. Short and sweet, but lays the groundwork for what's to come in the next 2 or 3 episodes. I hope this finds everybody well. If you want to become part of the conversation, you can do so by emailing us at contact@beyondtheversehq.com. You can go to beyondtheversehq.com or soulprovision.com to learn all you want to learn about us as a podcast, a content creation team, and of course our in-game organization, Soul Provision. Everything is there. Everything you can possibly imagine is there. We do have, as I'm saying this, I forgot to actually send the money over. We do have our philanthropy efforts this year. It is Extra Life. It is for children's hospitals around the nation. We did surpass $1,000. So we've hit $1,000 in Q1. That is amazing. Congratulations, everybody, against a goal of 5,000. So we have quite the space to go. But if you want to give to children's hospitals, it's 100% pass through. No one keeps any of the money that you give to us. You can do so at the beyondtheversehq.com. There at the very top, there's a give button you can click on. It takes you straight to the Extra Life portal for you to donate. It doesn't go through me. But we are pushing that as well. There's merch in that website that you can become part of the movement that is the Beyond the Verse podcast. Guys, girls, everybody, I thank you so much for an amazing 102 episodes. Until next time, safe travels as you traverse Beyond the Verse. Take care, everybody.